Welcome, everybody, to today's episode of the Empower Performance Podcast. Today's guest is Emily Ledford. I'll have her introduce herself, but before she does, I just want to say real quick, I'm very grateful and excited to have her on as a guest. I speak very highly of her to anyone who will listen. When I first started training and I started my business, I didn't know how to get clients. We got connected through a mutual friend. She decided to speak to me for free for about an hour. She gave me a lot of confidence and advice. And I was asking, we're in the same town, we both work in the same industry. Why would you help me? And she said something that maybe, I don't know if you remember saying this, Katie, Emily, but um, it really stuck with me. It could have been a throwaway line for you, and it really stuck with me ever since. You said you like to build community, not competition. And so I just thought there's enough trainers out there who want to do right by their clients. There's a lot of people who need training. I don't see anyone else in my area as a threat as long as they're ethical and they're kind and all that stuff. And that was something that I learned from you early on, and I'm really grateful for that.
Oh,
And then also to give you some credit too, because you work in a slightly different area, which you can explain. You work in out of your home, and you work mostly with women. And I do mostly mobile personal training. I work with people out of their homes. You actually helped build my business by recommending and referring people to me. And so I said to you before we started this podcast, I have a house, I have a dog, and I have a baby on the way. And I don't know that I'd have that without you helping me build my business to this point. So I'm eternally grateful to you. But if you don't mind
oh.
introducing yourself, please
Well,
do.
thank you so much. You're so
Yeah.
kind. I really think you had it all together before you spoke to
Yeah.
me. My name is Emily Ledford, and I train out of my home studio and have been for almost 12 years, I guess, come January 1st in a couple months.
Mhm.
Um, and I also do online training, a little bit of nutrition coaching, and I am a wife and mom of two kids. One is a senior, so that's kind of the space I am in life right now.
Yeah. Um, so how did you get into fitness in general? Like, did you have an athletic background?
Absolutely not. In fact, I was a very asthmatic kid,
Okay.
and so it's funny because I hated physical education, all that. I do remember feeling very what would be the word, just out of place when it came to PE. But I do remember specifically, I think it was third or fourth grade, and we had to do like the mile run.
Uh-huh.
And of course, I never really did this. I was always the girl that stepped to the side to get out of it. But I was like, not this time, doing it. So I did it. And of course, at the end, I had a complete asthma attack. Thankfully, my mom worked at the school in the office, and we always brought then the nebulizers. So I was able to get a treatment at school. But I was like, I'm tired of this being, you know, my identity. So I think probably in the 5th grade, I had some 3 and 5 pound dumbbells underneath my bed, and I would just kind of do some arm exercises. And I just kind of, even at an early age, really appreciated strength and fitness, even though I didn't think that I would ever be an athlete. Maybe wanted to, kind of on the inside, but probably too afraid.
Mhm.
But long story short, when I was about 15 years old, began with an eating disorder, anorexia, and began running as a way to burn calories. So not a very healthy thing, although I got pretty good at it and my asthma improved. My doctor told me once, he's like, if you would just start running because the lungs are a muscle, you
Mhm.
would be amazed at how much your endurance would improve. So I did it. I got my little albuterol inhaler in hand, and over time, I didn't need it at all. But again, it became a obsession, and so eventually got into, I hate to say it, but bulimia, and then overeating, and of course, over exercising. So several years later, really got into strength training because I was like, I'm done with this. I mean, you can't, what could you possibly do more? More cardio? Like,
Mhm.
this is not working.
Mhm.
So got into strength training, reading a little bit about it. And it was, I would say, one of my ways out of the whole botched eating patterns and
Mhm.
everything. Just helped me just to do it in a more healthy way and really understand that, if you want to build muscle, you have to eat and more than you think, right? So, yeah.
I appreciate you sharing your story. I think that that's something that a lot of people fail to understand is that exercise isn't inherently healthy. You can overdo it. You can run too much. You can eat too little. And a lot of people have this mentality that more is better and better is better. Um, so you think more running, more dieting, more of all these different things, and you end up just burning yourself out, getting injured. It can be a mental issue, emotional issue, physical issue, but at some point, if you don't have a sound program and you don't have sound principles in place, and you don't always know that, most people don't always know that, they make mistakes. And my college athletic career, I always thought if I want to be a better player, I have to do more sessions, more of this, more of that. And I was just constantly fatigued. And if I rested a bit more and I ate a bit more and all that, I feel like I could have had more energy and performed better when it actually mattered. But I just burned the candle at both ends. Um,
Yes.
it's not the wisest thing to do, but I appreciate you sharing that because I'm sure there are a lot of hopefully people who listen to this who may have gone through a similar experience where they think, I don't look exactly how a magazine says I should look, or I don't for whatever reason. And then they just absolutely kill themselves. And I find that, so I have quite a few female clients. I believe you have exclusively female clients. A lot of them, when they start lifting, say, oh, I know I'm just like I can't lose those last few pounds because I'm eating too many peanut M&Ms at night, like 3 or 4, or, something like that, or it's, I just have to really dial down, and so they say they're eating 1,200 calories a day, which is what, like, small children eat, which is
Right.
dangerous. So it's hard to convince them, fuel yourself, and if you train hard and gain muscle, you'll actually look the way you want to as opposed to, getting bulky.
You are
Um,
very right, yeah.
yeah. Do you get that a lot with your female clients, having to convince them more from a mental perspective that it's okay to eat more and it's okay to train for strength?
I feel like I used to, but not as much anymore. Um, I think a lot of them really understand, and maybe it's because I've driven it so hard, like,
Yeah.
"You guys have got to get more protein." Like, your 50 or 60 grams per day is not cutting it with what
Mhm,
you say you want. You say you wanna build muscle, you say you wanna get those
mhm,
pull-ups. Like, it's not gonna happen with your 50 or 60, grams of protein a day. So, I think, you know, um, and then they always say, "I don't know how you do it," and so I kinda go over it and just encourage them to start small, but I feel like no one ever really tries.
mhm,
So they don't know how it could be easy if you just implement the habits and just
mhm,
start something. But I I don't really have too many people, especially the ages that I train more so seem to be about mid 40s to 60s and 70s. Don't really think they're eating too much. In fact,
mhm,
I would say probably some of them would do well to eat more.
mhm,
100%. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, I think some of them eat too little all the way around, protein and everything.
I try to teach people to think of food as fuel and not comfort.
Yeah.
And if they eat enough fuel, they're gonna be full and probably not overeat in terms of calories. But if you eat comfort, it's really easy to, eat before you realize you're full, and it's gonna be such calorie dense and not nutrient dense foods that it can really mess with you and your body. And so, like, I don't personally eat healthy because I love it. I do it because I hate the feeling of if I eat something terrible, I feel sick afterwards, or same thing with exercise. I hate feeling out of breath. I hate feeling so it's almost like I do all these healthy things. Yeah, they're good for me, and I know that,
Yeah.
and sometimes they're fun, but sometimes it's just to avoid the negative things because to me that's a greater, um, it's greater than the cost of actually doing the right thing. And so
Yes.
whatever the framework people need to be able to achieve it, some people think that they have to fall in love with celery, and you don't have to. But, if you can just whatever your goal is, if that can be worth more than the cost, I find that people will achieve their goals. Um, but some people, I've had some clients where in the beginning, at least, they think that training with me is an excuse to be able to eat more, drink more, something like that, because at least they're training in the meantime. And I'm hoping with some of them, or at least some of them have seen that after a little while, it clicks and they have a shift. And then I don't know if you've seen one of my clients lost 80 pounds in a year, but in the first 2 years, like nothing. And it was because his Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was perfect, but his Friday, Saturday, Sunday was not.
Oh,
And
yeah,
as soon
cheat
as he
like
got
cheat
that,
days?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as he figured it out, he, uh, he got everything on track, and, the weight just kinda melted off and all that. So it's everything. I try to tell people 2 hours, 3 hours with me a week can do a lot, but the other, 125 hours, is my math correct? Something like that.
Don't make me
Um,
math.
yeah, but if it's something like that, however many hours there are left in the week, if you spend it not sleeping well and you're super stressed and you're eating and drinking terribly and all that stuff, training can only do so much.
Yes, it's so true. I like to tell my clients to find a way that they like to eat every day And
Mhm.
then, well, and I'm always very, I always say protein first and then let
Sure.
everything else fill in the cracks. And of course, you need to get your fiber in and you need to be
Mhm.
eating fruits and vegetables. But as long as you're doing that, you would be surprised at how much room there is, even in a day, each
Mhm.
day, to have something that you actually enjoy, like
Mhm.
where you don't feel like you're deprived and, can't have that chocolate or whatnot. I can definitely tell you that every single day there's something that some would probably consider a cheap food or a
Mhm.
bad food. Well, I don't
Uh-huh.
really talk like that, but some would. And every single day there's room for that because I've
Mhm.
taken care of the main things first. And like you said, I don't want to eat, biscuits and gravy every morning
Yeah.
because I mean, although that might be fun on vacation, like every day, you know how you feel. You
Mhm.
feel so differently when you eat that way, starting out your day and then starting out your day with maybe 50 grams of protein, say,
Mhm.
on a regular basis. It's night and day different. You feel energetic. You don't get tired. It's just, I would not trade that for the world.
There was a study, and I can't remember, I heard it from another podcast, and they were talking about how, they looked at people eating, like, just junk food, people eating just healthy, and then people having a mix. And they said there was a huge difference between just junk food and just healthy, but if you get enough healthy food, um that and you have the healthy plus junk versus just junk, there's a negligible difference between them. So
Oh,
essentially saying
interesting.
that yeah, so saying that as long as you get enough healthy food, which a lot of people just don't get in the first place, then there's absolutely room to get, a little extra something in there, and it won't make a huge difference on your blood work, on your performance, on all these different metrics they looked at, as opposed to people who eat entirely healthy, and that's why I don't like the whole cold turkey approach, because a lot of people
Right.
will never succeed with that. If you say, "Alright, I'm never gonna have a uh, ice cream again or something like that. Today, I'm just gonna eat XYZ forever and always gonna be like that. They're always gonna revert to old habits, but it's about small, sustainable, kind of gradual shifts. It's can you trade? Sometimes I tell people trade something. If you like having something salty, can you go from like potato chips to mixed nuts? And that's
Yes.
already a step in the right direction. Or if you like tangy things, switching from Sour Patch Kids or something like that to like a bowl of fruit or something is kind of a step in the right direction. I also find it's really hard to overeat grapes. You know.
Yeah. It's true, but they do satisfy, and like you said, yeah,
Mhm.
I used to try to do everything perfectly, never gonna have sugar again or whatever, and
Mhm.
yeah, you have the best intentions and you are highly motivated, right?
Mhm.
And you can sustain that for a little bit, but boy, when once you get a taste of, whatever junk food
Mhm.
and you feel like shame,
Sure.
it kind of, it's just too much and it's hard to stay away from, then overconsume. So just finding a way, like you said, to sustain it, and enjoy it at the same time, night and day difference.
I think the all or nothing almost always leads to nothing. People start with
Yes.
all, and then if they say, "I'm gonna be perfect," and day 3 they have one bad thing, then they're just like, "Alright, well, I guess I'm done with this diet," and then they just go back to eating terribly, and it's the same thing with strength training. I've,
Yes.
made this shift recently where when I was an athlete, I said I have to do the best program. It has to be the right amount of sets and reps and intensity and exercises. It can't be the second best exercise. It can't be the second best whatever. And, I have to do all these workouts on these days, and I can't miss any workouts, and if I did, I would double up the next day, and then my body would just feel so beat down, and now I have more grace where it's like, I almost think I'm signing up for a group class at my place, and if I can make it, great, and if I can't, I can't, but I just try to have as much, like, completion rate as I can,
Yeah.
and on days where I feel beat up, I'll adjust, but just doing that and also focusing a little bit more on enjoyment. There's an exercise that I don't wanna do, and there's one that's similar, and I do wanna do that. To me, that just helps me be a lot more consistent. I know that I'll feel better and stick with the good habits longer, with that mentality as opposed to perfection. As dumb as it may sound, good enough is good enough.
Yeah, I mean, you never really ever want to be a prisoner to your workout or
Mhm.
a prisoner or a slave to food because it will get you nowhere and it will be misery. And you can't have a lifetime of good habits if you're going to just make yourself miserable. And
Mhm.
yeah,
I agree
spot
with you.
on.
Do you mind me asking how you started your business? What did it look like in the beginning? How did you grow? What does your business look like now for anybody who's listening?
I feel like my business was an accident. It's funny. So, I've always loved fitness and even more when my kids were little, just trying to stay into it while they were little. But I always knew I wanted to be a stay at home mom. So I was like, "Oh, I wanna do this thing so bad, but I want to stay at home."
Mhm,
So I was on the I got my certification for kettlebell training
mhm,
and a few other things, nutrition. I was like, why am I doing this? I want to do something with it, but I don't know what. And I had a couple people ask me to come work for them in their gym. I
mhm,
went and I looked and, saw their training. And right away I was like, number one, I don't like that group training because, I feel like these people shouldn't be doing that. They should be doing something a little, maybe regress a little bit.
mhm,
And on the couch that night, I looked over at my husband. I was like, "We have a nice gym in our house. Why am I not doing it here?" And he was like, "You wanna open a business?" I was like, "Yeah." Within a week, I had opened
sure.
a business. Just like
That's awesome.
yeah, so, and my concept was having I didn't wanna work a lot, my kids were still very little, so I was like, "What if I just had, like, a class of" at that time, it was just 4 women because of the
Mhm,
space. We eventually, a few years later, doubled this more than doubled the space, and so I can have now up to 8 ladies at a time. But it
mhm,
did start just by, putting the word out in my neighborhood group on Facebook,
mhm,
and most of my clients at the time were just neighbors.
mhm.
So that's kinda how it started.
That's awesome, and now you said you offer nutrition coaching, online coaching, and your group classes, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's see, there's a question I was gonna ask you about that. How did you pick your niche with all women? Was it just, a coincidence?
Well, I think I just picked all women just because I knew they would be coming to my house, and
Okay.
you don't even really know the women at first because I was kind of
Mhm,
newish to town. So I was like, I don't want to have any strangers coming in my house that make me feel uncomfortable. So I definitely chose that niche, and I honestly didn't think it would work because I was like, this is a smallish town. There can't be
mhm,
possibly that many women who would want to come here. But thankfully, word of mouth got out a little bit, and I only needed 4, right, for a class each day, so that kind of picked up pretty fast. So yeah, did I answer your question? What
Yeah,
was
yeah, and I think
okay?
it's nice too because, there's a lot of women who won't get into strength training because they think it's intimidating. So an example is, my wife was a college athlete, quite a good athlete, and she used to go to a, performance gym in Leesburg, and, there was like a 6 AM slot, 7, 8, 9. She'd always go to the absolute earliest slot because she knew it would just be her and the owner in the gym and nobody
Oh,
else. But if she
yeah.
went at like an 8 or 9, there'd be all the varsity athletes from different sports, and they'd be all big and macho and taking up space, and, you know, maybe they both need the same piece of equipment, they don't see that she's using a station, they might take it, something like that. And even when I, had my first internship, it was, um, working with a lot of, middle school and high school athletes, sports performance, and it was maybe a dozen to 20 kids at a time. About 3 or 4 coaches would be watching them, just power racks as far as the eye can see, and,
Wow.
there were some girls that, they might need to use a piece of equipment, like, there may be only a couple specialty bars, and they go for that piece of equipment, and, another guy would go at the same time, and then they would just kind of shy away and
Yeah.
say I'm like, "Well, it's, like, just as much your right to grab that piece of equipment or, or it was your turn or whatever." And so it's kinda nice that you have an option for women if they feel too intimidated to go to a public gym, that they can go and have a small group setting. I also find the group thing works well because, it builds community and people can have, accountability based off each other and, like, look forward to going to those classes, so it's nice that it exists, and I'm glad that there's an option like that out there.
Yeah, it's really cool because a lot of them have been coming for years, and so they know each other. It's like a family. I mean, they
Mhm.
look forward to seeing each other. They do things outside of the class, which is so cool to
Yeah,
me. So lots of friendships have been built.
yep. I was gonna ask as well, what are some of the most common myths that you see when it comes to training women?
Well, let's see. I think a lot of them think that they do need to eat less to have the results they want when they really haven't even built a foundation of muscle
Mhm,
um, yet. So I'll hear they want fat loss, but I feel like what they really m- want, because of what they tell me, how they want to look and everything, is they need to spend time building muscle, right?
mhm,
And maybe they're not eating a lot. Like you said, some people eating 1,200, 1,300 calories a day. And I used to not believe that they were actually eating that little because maybe
Mhm,
they would have more body fat than
mhm,
what is. But now I've come to realize that they've just never spent time building muscle, which burns it really does. I mean, your metabolism is different when you have a lot of muscle on your physique rather than not. So you can eat more with muscle. So, just encouraging them to up the protein, maybe even up the calories, change what they start the day with, and that sort of thing. I just think that the myth is that they need to eat less and
mhm,
move more. You hear that. So I really try to just, you need to eat what you need to eat and you need to lift more,
mhm,
probably. So,
uh-huh.
yeah, that's
Um, I
probably one myth. Yeah.
I find another one that's kind of along those lines, saying, like, "Eat more, lift more," is when it comes to the lifting more, I think that, I'm not trying to shame Pilates or a lot of these group classes, but a lot of women, I think they believe they need to feel the burn, um,
Yes.
but not necessarily grind, sort of strain, not a lot of tension in the muscles, it just needs to kinda sizzle. So they'll do
Yes.
flutter kicks for 2 minutes at a time, feel the sizzle, but they won't do hanging knee raises or weighted sit-ups or anything like that because they don't wanna get bulky or whatever. I think that can make their bodies more resilient. It can make them look how they wanna look because when they say tone, what they generally mean is lose fat and gain muscle at the same time.
They do.
Um,
Yes.
Helps with bone density, and women are more likely to deal with issues with that. So I see it as, like, there's actually so many reasons why everybody should train, but women especially should train. And it's hard to kinda break the Gene Simmons, it's Gene Simmons, right? Or is it Richard Simmons? Richard
Richard
Simmons.
Simmons. Yes.
Richard Simmons, got it. Gene Simmons is the rock star. Is the Richard Simmons kinda style of, like, just dancing around and, you know so or, like, the pink dumbbells, it's hard to get people to trade up the pink dumbbells for even just 10-pound, metal dumbbells or something like that and keep moving from there. Um,
That's
I guess
true.
on the flip side, I have this couple that trains with me. The husband is super cool with training heavy, the wife not so much, and, she used to be a group fitness instructor, and so every now and then she's like, "We gotta do more stuff like this where you get a burn." And, like, you can't get progressive overload, and my mentality is there may be a best way, there may be a middle of the road way, and there may be no way, and if I just do my way and she doesn't like it, then she might not train at all, and that's worse
Yeah.
than training kinda meeting her where she's at, so I try to find ways to increase the time under tension, you know,
That's so
a little.
smart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to give a bit of both where she can still get what she's actually asking for, but also feel what she thinks she needs to feel to achieve her goals.
100%. Yeah, sometimes you just have to work around the client because no matter how many times you explain it, they're
Mhm,
either gonna, go somewhere else and get worse results,
mhm,
because of, going to Pilates class. And I'm not saying Pilates is bad, you know that.
mhm,
You
right,
it's good, but when people think that they're gonna get that look that they say they want or that they're gonna get a strong I'm not saying Pilates is not hard. Heck yeah. I
sure,
mean,
sure,
the burn and stuff, but you'll never gain your potential of strength or muscle just
mhm,
doing Pilates.
mhm. I think I like seeing your clips as well because yes, you do kinda myth bust, but you also give a real example of what it's like to be, a woman your age being super strong. If you can speak to some of your really cool kind of, feats of strength, what's your best deadlift? You can do pull-ups, your snatch. So what was your deadlift PR the other day that you hit?
Um, my deadlift PR few months ago or weeks ago was 305 conventional deadlift,
That's awesome.
and I'm about 148 pounds, so it's
Wow.
about double body weight, I
Yeah, full
guess.
body weight, that's awesome.
And I don't know if I'll work to increase that. I'd like to, maybe a little bit. I'm
Mhm,
44 now, so it's not gonna probably increase crazy amounts. However, if I had trained like that in my 20s, had access to a barbell, I can only imagine like where I would have gotten. But I'm not unhappy with it.
the
Um,
300 for anyone is great.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
That it seemed like it took a long time.
yeah,
But that's kind of the point. And then pull-ups, the most I've ever gotten is 11. But again, I'm
that's
like,
awesome.
well, but I'm not 90 pounds.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh yeah. So those are and squat, I wouldn't say it's probably one of my weaker lifts. I think I've done
Mhm,
like 210. So I should
mhm.
probably work on that a little more. But deadlift definitely comes a little more easily for me, I would say.
You have the, RKC kettlebell certification, right?
Yeah, RKC level 2,
Okay.
and I've maintained that for several years now. I don't maybe 10 plus years now? No, 12, almost 12 years, I think. So,
So
yeah.
for anyone who's not, aware, that's one of the few certifications where you actually have to pass a physical component to have the certification, and it's tough. There's no weak RKC coaches, because the standard. So there's the snatch test. What else is there?
Then you
Um,
have to do your, I think, third body weight overhead press with the kettlebell
okay.
for a rep. Then you have to do a pistol squat, at least be able
Mhm.
to do one. You have to do a pull up, the clean and jerk, squat with kettlebells. And it always depends on your
Yeah.
weight class, and your age
Mhm.
and everything. So it's pretty brutal. The snatch test always gets me. In fact, I think it's due in May this year. So
Yeah.
I might be dreading that a little bit, but I think it'll be a little easier this year, so that's good.
My thing was always the 2-mile run for college.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
one of those things where, like, I hated training for it, but I also hated having to just, like, grit my teeth and do it. So it was like, what's the this was a flawed way of thinking, but I was thinking, what's the latest I can wait to train for it, and then train really, really hard, and then try to pass the test and never have to do it again until the next year. But it probably would have been better if I just started with like one lap at the pace I needed around the track and just
Yes.
try to add a lap over a couple months, and then probably wouldn't have felt so brutal. But instead, I'd wait and then just run 2 miles every day for a week or something like that, and just hopefully I can make my time by the. It's a flawed way of thinking, but that's just how you think when you're younger and foolish.
Yeah, it was funny because after my last, certification, I was like, "I'm never gonna have to, like, train from
Yeah,
scratch from this snatch test again. I'm just gonna do it at least once a week." And that went on for, 6 to 8 months. I was doing it once a week, and I was like, "To heck with this.
yeah.
I'm just gonna stop." So, at least I've been running, so my cardio has probably improved a little bit, but, wow, I don't
Is
wanna
it
do
because
that.
you've been joining your daughter and she's in, you said cross country, right?
Yeah, she's in cross country, which, I never in a million years thought she would do. She
Mhm,
did volleyball for 2 or 3 years at least, and then said she didn't wanna do that anymore, and I was like, "Oh," thinking, "I wish she would. I just want her to do something physical." And
mhm.
then she, um was encouraged at school by other people, thank goodness, to do this because they noticed she had really long legs. I don't know where she gets them, but she really does. So, yeah, she's been doing that and she's crushing it. She had like a 4-minute PR the other day on her second
Awesome.
meet. So I'm like, I want to be able to run with her. So yeah, you're right. I was like, I've got to keep up.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I have I've told you before we started the call, but, I have a kid coming at the end of the year. It's gonna be a boy, and,
Oh,
I started jujitsu, and I started, like, Muay Thai and MMA and all that stuff, and it's like, I think it'd be cool to teach him how to defend himself, but also the nice thing about martial arts is it kinda teaches discipline and to not use it, um, but just have it just in case. Better to, um, have it and not need it than need it and not
so you
have
did
it,
not
that
have
sort of
it.
thing.
Yeah.
But, like, I've told my wife, it's like, I can't wait to start punching and kicking and tossing around the little kid. I'll do it
That's
gently, of
so good.
course, but, like, just
Yeah.
playing with him and all that stuff. I think one of the biggest reasons why I wanna train moving forward is I wanna and you do a great job of this, is set an example of physical fitness, um, for my kids, and I see that your kids are active. I see you post clips of your son lifting and, getting really hyped over PRs and all that stuff, so it's really cool.
Yes, yes. For a while
Mhm,
there, when he was a little bit younger, I was like, "Oh, I've gotta, stay with him and, like, deadlift heavier than him and squat heavier than him," and you know how fast they go through puberty, and then, like, you're like, "I have been lifting for 20 years,
mhm,
and he's been lifting for 2 years, and his deadlift is heavier than mine. This is not
yeah.
fair."
Yeah,
So,
that's gonna be like a day of pride and misery when my kid surpasses me physically, and I just want to delay that as long as possible. If we're
yeah,
gonna do a race
and
every year on his birthday, I wanna smoke him every single year or something like that.
that is so funny. Yeah, but it's true. But then you'll be like, wow, like, I instilled that in them and that's
Mhm,
why they are like that. So
that's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
I was gonna ask, are you currently training for anything right now? I know that you had your snatch test, I know that you did pull-ups, I know you did deadlifts. Do you have any current thing?
I really don't. I just kind of want to maintain. I'm actually doing a program right now, just focusing on building muscle, like
Mhm,
just a 12-week period. After that, I figure I'm going to have to, train for that kettlebell certification. I don't think it'll take long. I've got my
mhm,
press. I just got to I probably won't even start right away, like you said. Probably delay it a little bit
yeah,
and keep my running up. Really, I'm doing too much right now. It's do as I say, not as I do.
yeah,
But yeah, I would still overall love that deadlift to get heavier. I'm kind of deadlifting higher reps than I usually would right now, so it'll be interesting to see, if that transfers all. It at all to, the lower reps when I'm done with this program. So
Sure.
I'm still gonna try to get past 305 deadlift. I just got it in
Yeah.
my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's a good goal. And kind of along what you're saying is like it's good to mix up the way that you train, and there is carryover to it. Of course, the as specific as possible is generally best. But if you do that long enough, you'll kind of hit like plateaus. And
Yes.
so it's nice to mix things up. And if someone ever asks me how much variety is necessary in a program, I kind of say it uh, depends on how you're training. If you see that you're progressing in something week after week after week, month after month, stick with it until the well is empty. Once you see that
Yeah.
it's dry, then you move on to the next well and all that stuff, and you can always circle back and see if you've made progress from there. But it sometimes I have to tell clients because we do 4-week blocks, "Hey, we're gonna go into another block. I don't want you to think I'm being lazy and not writing a totally new program or anything like that,
Yeah.
but this last block, you absolutely crushed it. I don't wanna tweak it too much. Once it
100%.
starts to slow up, then we can tweak it." I don't know if it's something that you have to have that conversation with your clients sometimes if you see, "Man, this last phase has been awesome. We should stick with it."
I know, and that's so individual, like, they'll say they want, their pistol squat or something. I'm like, "Oh, you're
Mhm,
so close if you just did this 2 more months," but they're like, I'm bored." So some people really have that drive to do certain things, and some people
mhm.
are like, "I'm just happy to be feeling strong and healthy." So
Sure.
it's very individual, but yeah, like, personally, I've sticked with the program probably for 12 weeks, maybe more,
Mhm.
just because, like, things were moving in the right direction. So yeah,
I
for
think it's
sure.
interesting that you say that because 'cause I've seen the clients that can stick to a goal, and then it's really easy. The only kind of caveat to that is if there's any plateau, they seem to have the most frustration.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you have the other side where it's people, they want workout variety, new workout every time, which I'm not gonna do. I explain to them
Yes.
too much is not good, too little technically isn't good either. Um, but so, like, I try to keep things interesting for them. It's every 4 weeks is usually when we change things, and I say same but different because I still want them to have some continuity. So if they do, like, a rear foot elevated split squat, the next time it might just be a reverse lunge, it's close enough. For them, they think it's different, for me, it's the same thing.
Yes.
And then they're gonna use essentially the same weights and still make progress and all that stuff. But I had one client, it's kind of a funny story where she said, "My ultimate goal more than anything is, to go on a walk with my husband one day and randomly bust out 20 push-ups just to, like, surprise him, and then I'll, just not say anything, stand up and keep walking and let him think, 'What the heck just happened?'" And she can only do 3 push-ups at the time, and so I was like, "Okay, cool." So in my mind, we're gonna train for push-ups for if she's at 3 push-ups, it might take maybe a year to get to 20.
Yeah.
But I was patient and all that stuff. First day that we do, the push-ups, she's like, "This is stupid. I want a different goal." I was like, "Oh, alright." Um, so yeah,
That's
you
so
can set
true.
goals, but, in my opinion, if she just said 5 push-ups, then she could have hit that goal and maybe been more motivated to, push for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe work up to 20, but with that huge stretch goal and then just doing it and thinking, "Man, this sucks," she instantly kind of changed. So it's, yeah, it's kinda funny.
That is so true, and yeah, I also do 4-week blocks so
Yeah,
that, because I've had so many clients over the years like, "Oh, I'm bored." So,
yeah,
but some of them, they're like, "I don't think I'll, wanna get rid of this program yet," and, yeah, like you said, I'll encourage it to keep with it for a little bit longer just,
mhm,
because they're still making progress, like, why change it if it's working? And they're
mhm.
feeling good, they're not having aches and pains or anything, so, yeah.
That's the main thing I think is, I've said this on another episode that I had for this podcast, but whatever someone's number one goal to me is usually my second goal. And what I mean by that is they'll say, "Oh, I want to look this way. I want to lift this much weight." That's all cool. I want them to achieve that. It makes me happy. It makes them happy. Wonderful. But I think what they're really chasing is confidence or just to move better, feel better. And they think that achieving this metric is the secret to
Mm,
feeling the way they want to feel, mentally, physically, looking the way they want to look, all that stuff. To me, it's can I keep them healthy? And so I have these, 2 really big, strong clients, and forever they just wanted to do, like, the meathead style workouts,
yeah.
where it's just get as much of a pump as you can and lift as heavy as you can, and they would compete with each other. And I just noticed, man, they started to get, like, all these aches and pains because they
Oh,
were
yeah.
doing too much, and I just thought, "Hey, like, we can mix in maybe some conditioning, maybe some mobility, maybe a little bit of this and that." And they really weren't into it, and maybe after about a year of training, I finally was able to convince them, "Hey, let's do just one block that's different, then we'll cycle back." And then stepping outside of that, they're like, "Man, like, I feel so great doing some running, and now I can go and play football with my kids and all that." It's like,
Yeah.
cool. I
You
can start to make that shift where you train for life, not just, perception of confidence and strength.
That's so true, yes. I am very bad about getting stuck in my own ways, I'm like,
Mm,
"Oh, I should probably change the way that I'm doing pull-ups or do 1.5 reps or,
mm,
do higher reps or something like that." So and you're right, if you keep doing the same thing forever, you will start to get aches and pains.
mm.
Very common in the men, who love to bench press and then, "Oh, my shoulder hurts. Oh, but
Shoulder
it's
hurts.
bench press day."
Yeah.
So, they're doing it anyway. And it's just like you're probably not you're not gonna gain anything. You're not gonna get stronger if you're aching. You're just really not. So,
I try to convince people that if they do different things, it'll help them with their main thing. So, like,
yes.
somebody doesn't like cardio and they don't like mobility, but they wanna get stronger. I say, "Well, if you're more mobile, you can get a deeper range of motion, which will promote greater muscle growth, which will help you be stronger," and all those things. Or I'll say, "If you work on your cardio, you can get more sets in a shorter amount of time." So
Yeah.
it's more density, it's a bigger stimulus to the muscle. You can also recover better between workouts. And so, like, I try to frame it in a way where they think, "Oh, wow, this is actually the secret to
Yes.
achieve my goals." It's not really a secret, it's just do well-rounded training and you'll be healthy. Um, but sometimes you have to try to sell it to them within the context that they're looking for, and then I think they'll buy into it. If I said, you know, "Do it because it's good for your heart and lungs," they don't care, but if I say it helps you lift more, then they will do it.
Yeah, and the line is not always linear, it's
Mhm.
up and downs, bumps, and everything else. Sometimes you like, "Oh, why don't I feel strong today?" And that doesn't mean that what you're doing is not working or,
Yeah,
it's just sometimes you need to do something a little different and change it up. So,
yeah.
yeah, you're right.
I I think there's a fluctuation of, like, 30% up or down 15% day to day,
I
um,
believe it, yeah.
in strength, and, like, I try to tell people I never say it on a day where they have a PR, "Hey, you coulda just had a good day." I always have to celebrate it, but on a day where it's bad, I'm just like, "Listen, maybe you didn't eat right, you didn't sleep right, that's fine, but also it could just be one of those days, or maybe the workout you did 2 days ago was so tough that your body hasn't fully recovered." So, I sometimes try to give people a bit of grace because some people look at the program, they say, "I hit this weight last week, I can only go in one direction." And if I ever have to drop the weight, they feel like a failure and they feel bad about themselves, and not necessarily feel that way. Those are the days I think are the most important are the bad days. If you show up and give what you have, I find that's how people can stay consistent and ultimately, succeed. But I tell people there's either like physical victory days or mental victory days. Um, I guess both can exist, but if it's not going to be a physical victory day, then let's make it a mental victory day where you showed up and you gave your best anyway, and you stayed healthy and you lived to fight another day.
Right, right. It took me a long time to realize, many years, to
Mm,
realize that you're not gonna add weight every single week. Like, that doesn't mean something's wrong with you. You're like, oh, like, let's just talk about how hard pull-ups are. I've
yeah.
been doing pull-ups for like 15 years and
Mm,
my PR is 11. Like,
mm,
what? You would think I would be doing hundreds by now. Like,
yeah.
it's just different. Your body weight changes, and so you just work with what you have, and man, it's worth it,
Mm,
but it's not linear. Yeah, you really have to, realize that the weight you add is not going up every single week,
mhm.
and, yeah, true.
So it's interesting you say the pull up thing because I had that as well where I thought maybe when I was 20, every year I want to add one pull up on my birthday. So 20 pull ups when I'm 20. And my record was 25. I'm 28 now. 28 pull ups in one set. It's very tiring. Like it's
Oh,
really
yeah.
tough. And I can't imagine when I'm 80, I'll be doing 80 pull ups. So like
Right?
at some point there's going to be a diminishing return, but it doesn't mean I shouldn't train pull ups or like to me, it's more, I can kind of get a sense based on the effort that I give rather than the result that I see. So did I do to failure? You can tell if I go to failures when I can't get that last rep or I just get that last rep. Um, to me, that's a win. It's
Yes.
not, did I get 26 or 27 or 25 or anything like that. But with that mentality now, I want to be able to do 20 pull-ups in one set as long as possible. If I can maintain that, like I'm 50 and I can still do one set of 20,
It's amazing.
I'll be really happy about that.
Yeah. Maybe by the time I'm 80. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. That'd be wild.
Yeah.
Ah.
I was gonna ask as well, do you have any pet peeves when it comes to training, perhaps something you see in the field, maybe how people market to women with training or something along those lines?
One of my pet peeves, okay, is when women will lift month after month, year after year, and either number one, they won't feel the protein, or two, they will never, ever, ever write down the weights they used
Yeah.
in their session.
Mhm.
So they're always grabbing the same weights. Yeah, I'm just like, I wanna say, and you know, I do nicely sometimes that, "Listen, you are leaving so much potential," and especially, I understand, like, when you're in your mid-60s or whatever, you wanna cap it and you're just happy to maintain the strength, and that's awesome, but I mean, like, if you're young and able, I just feel like, and you want what you say you want, and you just don't even know what weight to grab because you don't write it down. I just feel like you're leaving so much in in the tank. You really are. Always doing the overhead press with 15 pounds and not really pushing yourself. Like, and sometimes I'll say, "How many more do you think you could have done with that weight?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, 4 or 5." And I'm like, "Well, then choose heavier," And they're like, "Oh, maybe next time." So yeah, I see that a lot. Is just, and that's okay. I think some people, they're just happy to be lifting. They're happy to get to a certain amount of strength, and not everybody needs to do maximal strength training, I guess. But it's just, I don't know. I know that people are shorting themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that sometimes as well where people are like, so I use this story. My dad hurt his back, and he'd had back pain for many, many years. He started strength training with me, I don't know, let's say 5, 6 years ago. And he said he would never lift heavier than the heaviest kettlebell we had, which was like 40 pounds at the time. And I was like, God forbid you have a 45-pound package. You're not going to be resilient enough to
Right.
pick it up.
It's
You're going to
true.
throw your back out. And so I said, okay, let's lift that 40 until it doesn't feel, if it's a 8 out of 10 intensity right now, until it feels like it's a 6 out of 10 intensity. Then you have to go to a heavier weight until it feels like an 8 out of 10 intensity, whatever scale I gave him at the time. And he agreed. And so then the 40 became a 50, 50 became 60. And then at one point he was deadlifting 275, which was
Oh
really
my.
good progress and all that stuff, but his back pain just magically went away because if the heaviest thing he had to pick up is 50 pounds and now I can pick up 275, 50 feels like nothing.
Yeah,
Um,
right. And
and
I'm
he was in his
sure,
50s
like,
at the time too, yeah,
he probably, at some point wants to move furniture around his house.
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, the 40 pound is not going to cut it, right?
yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm glad.
that it's just one of those things where you have to, it's all about framing, I guess, is you have to convince people why they should do something and that it's safe, and I tell people, um like, resiliency and injury is just like a line, and you just have to be on the right side of the line with your training. If you just push yourself a little bit outside your comfort zone on a regular basis, you'll actually expose yourself to the thing that could hurt yourself, with kinda like medicine and poison, it's the dosage sort of thing, but if you
Right.
avoid it at all costs, anything will, mess with you, you'll get hurt. The wind will knock you over and you'll
Yeah.
break a hip or something like that,
It's
so,
true. And
yeah.
another thing too is, on talking about backs and back pain, is so many people are literally afraid of their lower backs to feel anything.
Yes. Yeah.
So they don't want to deadlift, like you said. And I'm just like, you actually need to strengthen those muscles, and that's going to set you up for a lifetime of
Right.
chronic back pain if you don't
Mhm.
ever work those muscles. So, yeah,
Mhm.
it's definitely needed. It doesn't have to be extreme, but working those muscles and not feeling afraid of feeling anything in your lower back. It's definitely something I have to talk about quite often. Everybody's afraid of their lower back.
The same
Yeah.
thing with just rounding their spine. They say,
Oh
you
yeah.
can never round your spine and all that stuff. It's like, all right, well, if you touch your toes right now, your spine has to round and you're not scared of doing that. If I give you 2-pound dumbbells in your hands, you're not scared of that. But if I give you 200 pounds, you'd be scared of that and you might snap your back. Sure. I'm not going to give you 200 pounds. I'm going to give you 2 pounds. And when two becomes three and three becomes five and five becomes 10 and whatever, that's fine. But that's the idea of progressive overload, which I guess is a really simple concept that you just have to tell people. I like to use reps in reserve, or RPE, rating of perceived exertion, and just out of 10, how hard was it? Um, and, 8 is you had, like, 2 left in the tank, you coulda done 2 more reps. And 7 is 3 left, and I like to kind of pair those together, but people won't know how to use either of those scales until they do failure once.
Oh
So I like to give them failure on, like, a safe exercise, and to me, that's like push-ups.
yeah.
What
Yep.
happens is you don't move, but if I did, to failure with barbell back squats
That
and
would
someone
be the
doesn't have
absolute
safeties,
worst.
yeah, so, yeah,
That's so funny. I think my program had like a failure in barbell back squats or something like that, and I was like, I don't think that was failure. I know that wasn't failure. I don't even want to know where failure is on that. It's just too painful. Like
yeah,
the
failure.
muscle burning. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I was gonna ask as well, so you said your pet peeves. Is there any, like, positive trends you're noticing in the women's health space?
yes, I would say particularly women my age are starting to talk more about, all the perimenopause symptoms they
Mhm,
have, and they're getting help for it, whether it's going on hormone replacement therapy or starting to realize, oh, this is why we need to strength train, bone
right,
density, and things like that. So I think people are talking about that more. I think doctors are recommending that more.
yeah,
Um, Strength training more so and talking about protein. So it's not just from your trainer, right? It's more from doctors too.
mhm,
They seem to be educating themselves a little bit more because I know I've heard that doctors, physicians don't get that much training on nutrition and really even exercise unless they kind of go at it on their own to learn more. So thankful that that's coming around.
I think, sorta similar, uh, the body positivity movement kind of has, like, good and bad to it. I don't like
Yeah,
the statement "healthy at any size." I don't think that
sure.
exists. I think you can love your body at any size. I think you can be attracted to anybody at any size. It doesn't mean healthy at any size.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, a lot of people think that if they want to lift, they have to look a certain way, and they might think I need to look like a ballerina. And then you see people like, I think her name was Alona Mayer. I think I'm pronouncing her name properly, but she was a USA women's rugby captain at
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah,
Olympics.
yeah.
And she's, like, incredible when people are saying even though she has all these big muscles and all that stuff, they think she's still beautiful and charming and cool and all that stuff, and I
Yes.
think just saying that it's okay to look like that, it's okay to train like that, it's okay to be like that, and people kind of having more options, I think is another way to get people in the gym and feeling confident and strong, and, I have some female clients that say they don't wanna get jacked, and it's not as easy as it sounds to get jacked, but some do. And they want
Yes.
to, and I just think that's, like, the coolest thing ever when they just take a picture and they flex their arms and, it's crazy. If you go on my Instagram and you go to, a few years back, there's a photo of me and a bunch of clients, um, at an axe throwing bar, and, they said, "Take a picture where everybody's flexing." One of my clients, I swear her arm looks like twice my size and all that stuff, so I just thought really cool.
I love that. I love when women are not afraid of muscles. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Um, I was also gonna ask, uh, are there any major lessons you learned along the way, or do you have any major changes of mind that you've had, during your fitness journey?
Oh, heck yeah. I think just eating alone, like I used to think that, I probably shouldn't eat more than, say, 17 or 1800 calories with all of the
Mhm,
working out I was doing. And, it took me years upon years to realize that was hindering uh,
mhm,
the muscle building potential that I said that I wanted and the strength potential that I said that I wanted. The whole deadlift thing, why that took so many years, I think
mhm,
because I was so afraid to eat more.
mhm,
I just wanted this amazing deadlift without fueling my body and things like that. So I think it's been it's almost like I always say that it's been like a 10-year reverse diet for me because I've just slowly tried to get my metabolism high and it really, I can eat so much more.
mhm,
And yes, I weigh more, but also I have more muscle and I've become happier with even a heavier body with more muscle and strength than the 120-pound body with like, why can't I do this or that? So,
mhm.
yeah.
Uh, so a lot of people say scales are the enemy, and I think there's, like, a caveat to that. I like body composition scales
Yeah.
because if somebody trains for 3 months and their weight doesn't change at all, if they had just a normal scale, they'd say, "I'm doing everything right. Why isn't the scale going in the right direction?" and blah, blah, blah. But if in 3 months you lose 5 pounds of fat and you gain 5 pounds of muscle, that's an incredible transformation. You're gonna look different, you're gonna feel different, you're gonna move different. Your clothes might fit differently. Like, everything might go in the right direction, and you wouldn't have known had you not had a body composition scale to show,
So
you
true.
know, those all those positive changes. So, on the flip side, I don't like when people use a scale every day because there's gonna be natural fluctuations of a couple pounds from your meal, from did you go to the bathroom, did you drink a lot of water, all that stuff. Um, and if you do it weekly, that's fine, you have some consistency, monthly, but, um, I tell people maybe every Sunday, go to the bathroom first thing in the morning, stand on the scale, um, and then that's kind of a good way to measure week to week.
Mhm.
Um, and then you can see month to month and over the course of a year, but I tried to tell them that, yeah, look at all those other measurements too, but weight isn't everything.
Right.
Um, and also all those dramatic stories of weight loss, someone will see a magazine that says lose 20 pounds in 3 weeks or something like that. It's like you can lose 20 pounds in a day if you chop part of your leg off,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
how do you
it
wanna
doesn't
do
mean it's
it?
healthy. Yeah, exactly. So, it doesn't mean that it's healthy, it doesn't mean it's good for you, it doesn't mean that it'll stick, and I find that a lot of times people lose those first 10 pounds so fast, it's because 'cause they're starving themselves and dehydrating themselves, and then when they gain the weight back, it's just because they go back to eating like a normal person,
A
and then
normal person,
they're
you're
not
right, yeah.
starved and they're not dehydrated, and there's actually so much weight with that fluctuation. I think one morning I woke up, weighed myself, and it's the dumbest experiment. I was probably in high school, and I said, "I'm gonna drink until I can't drink any more water, and then I'm gonna weigh myself again." And there's like an 8-pound difference in one day.
My
I just
gosh,
realized that
wow.
that there's this huge fluctuation, and if people think, "Oh man, I'm down 2 pounds, it's the best thing ever." I don't wanna ruin it, but like if you're down 20, 30, 40 pounds, that's actually a big change, which means it can't
Wow.
just be water weight, but if it's, give or take 5 pounds, you never
Right.
know.
Yeah, yeah. Body
Mhm,
composition is kinda like the tell-all. Yeah,
yeah.
true.
I was gonna ask as well, do you have any major pieces of advice? Let's say kinda 2 categories, if that's okay with you. 1, if there's someone who wants to do what you do, a young woman who wants to be where you're at, and then 2, let's say somebody who's just entering into this health and fitness journey, uh, if you could give them maybe a couple actionable pieces right now that they can do to kinda be headed in the right direction to living a healthier, happier life.
Okay. So first you said the person that wants to get
Wants to be
into
like you. Yeah,
training
training just like you, yeah.
like personal training or
Yeah.
whatnot? Like, okay.
Yeah, absolutely, professionally.
Um, I would just say probably first start with a certification,
Mhm.
because I'm sure, like, if you're gonna be hired by a gym or anything, usually they're gonna want you to have a certification,
Right.
and then work on getting people that maybe just try to train somebody for free. Just get a group of people that, like, what do they have to lose? Here, you want
Mhm.
a body assessment, you want a fitness assessment, and then talk to them about how simple steps that you can improve. And that would get them excited about training. Like, what do I have to lose? Yeah, let's go free fitness assessment. So I kind of think that's how you could start.
Mhm.
Use Facebook. I feel like people hang out on Facebook and get information about training and stuff like that for on 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 that platform. So put your information out, whether it's free training or whatnot,
Mhm.
and start there. I think I started there a ton, and that really helped ramp up things quick because you can reach an entire community, especially if you get
Yeah.
into the groups where it's like women only, or the type of people that would be your ideal client.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that would be the way to go, but, don't train free forever,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get, "Oh, I don't feel like I wanna charge," but you have to at some point. I think that was, I remember at first people wanting to train with me, I'm like, "Oh, I'll train you for free," you
Mhm.
know, even after, like, we'd already done it, so, like, you have to support yourself too. And then for the person you said just starting to get into fitness and
Yep, yep.
um gosh, start slower than you think.
Mm.
I've always told people you gotta add stuff instead of taking away,
Mhm.
because I think the mindset of taking away at first, especially, is so incredibly scary.
Mhm.
So let's start. What can we add? We can add a 10-minute walk. We can add lifting weights for 10 to 15 minutes 2 times a week.
Mhm.
We can add more protein, and we can start with the protein, at breakfast.
Mhm.
Let's try to get 20 to 30 grams and work our way up, because I know protein is very difficult for people at first because they're like, "How do you eat 50 grams of protein for breakfast?" You
Sure.
work your way up. Your body will need it later on, but at first, just getting 20 more grams than you were getting previously. Just little small steps about what you can add, not take away. And you will see that when you add the protein, right, you're going to want less junk food or whatever, because you're full. You can't
Mhm.
eat anymore. It's so satiating. And then adding a walk, that's pretty easy to do, right? 10 minutes,
Mhm.
whether it's around your office, it's during the day outside, get outside if you can. Those things that you can add, not take away. I would pretty much say that's been my entire. I don't think I've I can't think of much that I've taken away on purpose.
Mhm,
Do you know what I mean? Because I don't like that feeling of even like I said, I like to bake, so I still bake cookies. I don't
mhm,
want them as much as I used to all the time because, like, I'm
mhm.
getting so much protein where I'm satisfied, like, I'm good. I don't crave the things I used to. So just adding, not taking away.
The only thing that, I think is like a takeaway thing, and it's really hard to it's a hard battle is like alcohol.
There you go, yeah.
So I try to tell people if you have 20 glasses a week, which is a lot, if you can work your way down to like 18, that's a win.
Yes.
But I also try to tell them things like, if you go to a wine tasting or something like that, or you just go out to the bar or something like that, if you can space out every drink with a glass of water, it's just fewer calories, and I try to make it a calorie thing as opposed to
Right.
substance thing.
Yeah.
But then as far as I like what you said about protein for breakfast. A lot of people skip breakfast, don't skip breakfast. And then protein for breakfast is where a lot of people miss it 'cause they might just have some toast or pancakes. Um, you can do protein pancakes if you really want pancakes, but you crack a couple eggs and a couple slices of whatever your breakfast meat is of the day. You get yourself some Greek yogurt, drizzle some honey on it. It's really not that hard to add, 30, 40, 50 grams of protein
100, yeah.
in one meal, and it really helps you hit your goals at the end of the day. And that was the shift that I needed to make is, I eat quite a bit of protein myself, and, I just thought, I make 3 meals a day and 1 snack, and I make protein the centerpiece of everything, I'll hit my goals. If I
Yeah.
miss a meal and I have to play catch up, it's very difficult to have 3 steaks at night. So,
Yes. It's so true, like, yeah,
yeah,
you wanna, like, load it early and not wait till the end of the day because it's just like, oh, another day I didn't get my protein in." So, yeah,
mhm,
like you said, always start with breakfast as you can. And another thing, drinking a shake is going to be easier than getting down another chicken breast, right? So if you're really
sure,
struggling to get in the protein at all, especially when you're just starting, like, there's nothing
mhm,
wrong with having a shake to help get that protein in. It's just that important, and I wish people understood that that could be the stumbling block of not reaching their body composition goals, building the
mhm,
muscle, building the strength. It was my stumbling block for a very long time, and I
mhm,
tell women now, I'm like, "Listen, despite what you weigh or where you wanna go, just hit 100. Just try to hit
yeah,
100 grams a
yeah,
day, and then we'll talk." Okay? You do
yeah,
that for a while, and then we'll talk some more, And yeah, if you did 30, 30, 30, a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're already at 90. So, finding a few meals that you really enjoy, mix and match,
mhm.
it goes such a long way.
So I like that these are, like, actionable steps. You also mentioned, like, walking 10 minutes a day and all that. Um, my suggestion is get a high energy dog. I have a German Shepherd.
Oh,
You won't have a
yeah.
choice. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's right, if you wanna get to bed on time tonight at night and everything else,
yeah,
yeah, you've gotta take that dog for a walk.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
that's an excellent plan, I like that.
Mhm. And then I was gonna say as well, you mentioned the starting for free, but you have to charge at some point. I do think it's really interesting that I find it's common in this profession, and then my wife sees in her profession, she's a, mental health counselor.
Mm.
Um, they say, "If you cared, you'd be doing this for free," and it's like, you don't say that to almost any other job.
No.
It's weird that it happens here. It's like, I still have bills, I have a family, I have all these things. You get to make money with your job. I think I should be able to make money with my job, but it doesn't mean I don't care. I do absolutely care. Um, so it's, the part of the thing is you can make more money as a trainer by increasing your rate or reaching more people. I'm kinda capped on space in this gym here, and
Right.
I also bring people out of their homes. So my mentality is if I wanna make more money in the future, I don't wanna just squeeze the lemon for every drop with individual clients. I'd rather try to get into online training like you do, where I can
Yes.
actually reach people at an affordable price point. Because I even think now, one-on-one training, I can only reach a few people with that. Not
Yeah.
everyone can afford that. But if I put a program out there for 10, $20 a month, suddenly that's a lot more affordable, at least starting off, that's a lot more affordable for people, and then I can help more people. And that's my way of responding to the whole, if you cared, you try to, you would do it for free. It's like, okay, well, if I cared, I would do it because I want to help as many people as possible and try to make it affordable and all that. On the flip side, personal training, you're paying for someone's time, and expertise, and it's always gonna be better in my opinion than an online program because you
Yeah.
take into consideration the individual and you're there with them every step of the way, so that explains the different price points.
It absolutely
Um,
does, yeah.
the final thing I was gonna ask you is, if you were to plug yourself, before we sign off and everything, If you want to be found, do you have Instagram? Anything you want to plug?
Sure. I mean, it feels so weird. Still feels so weird. Instagram, Emily Ledford Fit, and on Facebook, Emily Ledford Fitness and Nutrition. And maybe I'll get back to posting more one day, but I need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
kind of
I really
just don't love to post anymore, but
yeah
I should.
yeah. I really appreciate your time. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Thank you.